Earlier this month, the Teranga Lions appointed a homegrown coach hoping to turn around the national team's fortunes. Aliou Cisse, previously an assistant coach with the national squad, has a hard task ahead. Tonight on Matchpoint, we ask, can he deliver? Cisse certainly thinks he can. Hello and welcome to Matchpoint, where we bring you African sports news, action, features and highlights. I'm Mahia Mutua. Also coming up, South Africa in a bullish mood ahead of their semi-final tie against co-hosts New Zealand. And this is how it's done in Mogadishu. We tell you why basketball is fast gaining influence in Somalia. Welcome to the show. Now, Aliou Cisse was captain of the Senegalese team when it was at its best, a World Cup quarter-final and silver at a Cup of Nations. Now he has been chosen to lead the team once again at its lowest, this time as coach. And as Celestine Caronet reports, the former international is aware of the expectations from the fans, who are eager for some football cheer once again.
Senegalese love their football. So much so that even the under-20 team has been drawing impressive numbers to the 60,000-seater Leopold Sédar Senghor Stadium in Dakar on match days. But at senior level, there is not much to celebrate.
Le problème du football sénégalais, c'est que nous avons une bonne équipe.
The problem with Senegalese football is not the players. We have the talent, but we've never found the right coach in a long time who can create a winning team out of these players.
Pour défendre le maillot national.
Most recently, Senegal's star-studded team failed miserably at yet another Cup of Nations when they were eliminated in the first round. In 2002, Senegal reached the quarter-final in their World Cup debut. The same year they were runners-up at the Cup of Nations. But since then, the Teranga Lions have failed to roar. The 2006 fourth-place finish in the Cup of Nations, their best performance yet. And now the Federation has turned to the man who captained that impressive 2002 side to turn around the fortunes of this team. Aliou Cisse is the new man at the helm, replacing Frenchman Alain Giresse. Cisse signed a 4-year contract and is tasked with qualifying for the 2017 and 2019 Cup of Nations as well as the 2018 FIFA World Cup.
Je suis conscient des responsabilités qui m'ont été confiées.
I am aware of the responsibilities entrusted to me, but I know with the support of the Senegalese people, we will succeed. That I am not worried about. Today in Africa, well in this case everywhere in international football, there is quality. Senegal has quality, but beyond football, these players have lives outside the pitch which must align with their careers, so that when on the pitch we can better come together, win together, move forward together. I think this solidarity is very important. I think we need to focus on that in order to build a team capable of winning together.
Despite boasting a playing career spanning almost 2 decades, Cisse's coaching CV isn't quite as impressive, with a short stint as caretaker coach of the national team in 2012 while he was under-23 coach.
In Senegal, you're all the time under pressure. In football, we are all the time under pressure.
Cisse's first assignment will be a friendly match against Ghana in Paris on March 28th. In naming his team, the 38-year-old has recalled forward Demba Ba, who plies his trade with Turkish side Besiktas. Ba hasn't played in the national team since October last year. Diafra Sakho of West Ham, who angered the FA during the Cup of Nations after opting to play for club over country, was left out.
Demba Ba, c'est un joueur sénégalais.
Demba Ba is a good Senegalese player with national team experience, so it's only logical that I include him. The national team is open to all Senegalese as long as they are in form. There will be no discrimination.
For the next 24 hours, these fans will continue dancing in support of their youth team. But after the Under-20 Championships, the spotlight falls on the senior team once more. This football-mad nation is hungry for some positive results and hope that in Cisse they have found a savior for their beloved Lions. Celestine Caronet, CCTV, in Dakar, Senegal.
Right now, to give us more insight into that story and the appointment of Aliou Cisse as Senegal coach, we can now go live to Celestine Caronet, who joins us live from the Senegal capital, Dakar. Celestine, I'll begin by asking you, are Senegalese football fans confident that Cisse, the man who led them as captain all those years back, is the right man to bring back the glory days to their football?
Well, Mahia, you get the sense from the fans here in Senegal that there has been so much despair over the Teranga Lions that they are willing to cling on to any form of hope they can get. Cisse is offering that, and so fans here are fully behind their coach. They are saying this is one of their own. A man they have seen play, a man who has done duty for his country as captain. They're just hoping he can deliver that as well as coach. And it's not going to be easy for Cisse. Of course, the critics have already started talking. They've spoken about his coaching experience. Remember, this is a man who has only coached an under-23 side, was very briefly at the helm of the senior team in 2012. But Cisse says that the playing days, his playing career, and that brief stint as coach, as under-23 coach, is enough to see him help this team to deliver. Like we have been saying, Mahia, this team does not lack the talent. It actually just lacks the winning combination. And everybody here is fully behind the coach. They are saying they will judge him once he starts to deliver, Mahia.
Now, Celeste, obviously there's questions about the new coach, but there's also questions about team selection. Obviously, Senegal has a huge dependence on foreign-based players when it comes to selection for the national team. What has this done to the local league in Senegal?
Well, Mahia, with the local league here, you get the feeling that they are in a state where they are satisfied with their position of not being part of the holistic of the national team outlook, because you're looking at a country where there's a mass exodus of players. The minute they hit 18 years old, they all want to go out to Europe because of the economic benefits of playing in Europe. And so the local league clubs here say they cannot compete with that, so they have the best players going. And so, of course, when a coach comes down to select, he will look at the players who are playing the best and have the best opportunities, and often this priority will go to the players plying their trade in Europe. So the clubs here have come to terms with that decision. The players here know that for them to make it into the national team, it's going to be a very hard task. But you see, Cisse says that he is not going to discriminate against anyone. He's going to give everybody an equal chance. But when you look at the team that he has actually named for this friendly against Ghana on March 28th, Mahia, it is full of overseas-based players. And so it seems that is going to that trend is going to continue. And for the league here, they're saying, look, we still struggle financially like many countries in Africa, and they just hope that maybe Cisse might break his that trend in the coming days, Mahia.
Finally, Celestine, obviously, following this news of Cisse's appointment, it's easy to probably forget that there is a tournament ongoing in Senegal. Looking at the Under-20 African Championship finals tomorrow, the host Senegal have obviously made history reaching the finals. How do they rate against Nigeria going into the final on Sunday?
Well, Mahia, for many people here in Senegal, this is a final made in football heaven, a dream final, the hosts versus the tournament favorites. These are two teams who played the opening match of the competition. Nigeria won that match 3-1, and now they are playing the final game. And of course, the stadium behind me here, Leopold Sédar Senghor, is expected to have at least 50,000 or more fans coming in to support Senegal. It must be said that Senegal are definitely coming into this final as underdogs. Nigeria is a team that knows how to win championships, especially at the youth stage. They are looking for their 7th title. This is the first time Senegal are in the final. So there is expectation, of course, that Nigeria will carry the day. But Senegal said, look, we have come all this way. Nobody gave us a chance. Our mandate was to qualify for the World Cup, which they did by reaching the semi-final. This team has gained confidence match after match. They come in, yes, Mahia, as underdogs, but they are saying they could just deliver this trophy to their fans. Remember, Senegal has not won any trophy at the continental level at any stage of football, Mahia.
All right, Celestine Karane, thank you for joining us there. That was CCTV Celestine Karane joining us from Dakar, Senegal, ahead of the finals of the Under-20 African Championships. The host Senegal take on Nigeria tomorrow. That is a match to watch. Well, let's take a break here on Match Point. Still to come. South Africa in a bullish mood ahead of their semi-final tie against co-hosts New Zealand. Welcome back. Now turning to the Cricket World Cup, and on Tuesday, South Africa will take on New Zealand for a place in the tournament's final. Confidence is high in the South Africa camp following their impressive quarter-final win over Sri Lanka. But Proteas batsman Dean Elgar warns the co-hosts will be an altogether more dangerous opponent.
It may lack the glamour of the MCG, but Benoni's Willowmore Park did at least have a few Proteas players on show. The Titans were up against the Cape Cobras, but for those here, like the rest of the country, a key focus is on events at the Cricket World Cup. And the Proteas' demolition of Sri Lanka in the quarter-finals gave both teams a spring in their collective step.
Yeah, it was awesome to see us, get over one of those stumbling blocks in a knockout game. Great to see the way the guys played with such authority and such clarity in their game plans, and then the execution was outstanding. So, yeah, all over it was a really, really good performance and awesome to watch.
One of the standout factors for the Proteas was their bowling performance, and Marchant de Lange expects more of the same in the semi-final.
I think the first couple of overs set the tone for the rest of the game. So personally, I think that's like you said, spot on. The aggression was there, and I think the fire and the belief of the boys. AB said before the game was played that the guys are pumped up and they're ready for this game.
When South Africa last played New Zealand in Auckland in 2012, the Proteas ran out easy winners. But the Black Caps have an impressive World Cup record against South Africa, beating them 4 times in 6 meetings and knocking them out of the tournament 4 years ago.
Well, New Zealand's dangerous. I think they feed a lot off their captain, off McCullum. I think he's a massively positive player, and a lot of the younger players feed off his presence in the team. But saying that, South Africa's had a lot of success in New Zealand. I know their recent series they had there, they did pretty well. And I mean, it's a cup game. It's a massive semi-final. I don't think where you play and who you're playing against is that bigger aspect.
So can South Africa reach their first ever World Cup final? It's certainly something that's long overdue, and despite so many disappointments over the years, the players here at least are confident the Proteas will win through.
I think that's a massive goal for us to win the World Cup, and it will boost South African cricket massively. So I think it will be a positive for all upcoming players and youngsters coming through. So yeah, I think they're going to do it. I'm positive for the boys. I'm pretty confident in the guys. They're playing great cricket at the moment. They seem to have a settled team now going into the semi-finals, and I'm definitely, I said if they win the quarter-finals, they can win the final.
And millions of South Africans will be praying for that to be the case. Dan Williams, CCTV, Benoni, South Africa.
Right now, to give us a better perspective on the Proteas' progress at the Cricket World Cup, we're joined live by Dan Williams, who is in Johannesburg. So, Dan, we now know it's South Africa against New Zealand in the semi-finals. What chance then is there that South Africa can actually squeeze a result and make it through against the tournament co-hosts?
Well, this game does promise to be something special, but as I said in that piece, New Zealand are very much South Africa's bogey team, having knocked them out or beaten them 4 times out of 6 at a Cricket World Cup. But South Africa at least do go into this match with the confidence that they got that monkey off their back, that they've won their first ever knockout match at a Cricket World Cup. So they're going obviously full of confidence from that. But New Zealand as well, they've been the form side at this Cricket World Cup. 6 wins from 6 in the group stage. Now another sensational victory for them again today. A very impressive victory against the West Indies today. Martin Guptill again showing that there are match winners throughout this New Zealand side. So once again, as I say, New Zealand will be really fancying their chances. The 2 sides did play a series late last year in New Zealand. South Africa came out on top of that one, so that's a plus for South Africa. But then the 2 also played a warm-up match ahead of the Cricket World Cup, and New Zealand ran out winners by 134 runs. So, as I say, I think this one is too close to call. But whatever happens, at least we're guaranteed a new finalist at a Cricket World Cup, as neither of these sides have ever made it that far.
Now, Dan, obviously South Africa's bowling was impressive in the quarter-finals. What chance is there of a similar performance this time around against the New Zealanders?
Yeah, well, for me, it's key, and especially if South Africa to bowl first. I mean, we saw what it did for the side, to galvanise the side with Del Steyn and Carl Abbott, the way that they opened the bowling against Sri Lanka. They bowled with such intensity, and it really set the tone for the match. And those early wickets meant that when the spinners came on, and Imran Tahir and JP Duminy, that they could continue to add to the pressure, and we saw the destruction that then happened, especially with JP Duminy chipping in with a hat-trick as well, very impressively. But going into this one, there are still some question marks over the South Africa bowling unit. Do they bring back Vernon Philander, for example, in place of Carl Abbott? Vernon Philander, of course, has been struggling with injuries. He was injured for the last one. And that, of course, then in turn puts a question mark over the role of the fifth bowler, which JP Duminy performed so excellently last time out. But he's also been carted at previous matches as well. So, and if Vernon Philander was to break down and not get through his overs, then that would add further pressure to that bowling unit. But for me, I think the key performer for this match has to really be Del Steyn, who's had a very decent World Cup, it has to be said, but perhaps not to the level that he would be happy with. So perhaps this being the biggest stage of all, perhaps this one's built for him.
All right, Dan, thank you very much for that. We'll leave it there for now. From South Africa's chances at the Cricket World Cup, that was CCTV's Dan Williams joining us live from Johannesburg. Now moving to Egypt, and Al Ahly Sporting Club has opened new squash facilities in its main club. Al Ahly is one of the biggest clubs in Africa, yet it didn't have squash courts for long. Finding an adequate location for training has been impacting the performance of the club's teams, putting behind other clubs who've produced world champions. Adel Mahrouki has more.
Al Ahly is the master of football in Egypt and Africa, with a world record in the number of titles won. The Red Devils have also excelled in many other sports. Just this week, they became Africa's champions in volleyball. Yet in squash, the only sport Egypt has been dominating for years, Al Ahly doesn't stand out.
In the past period, we used to suffer a lot because we lacked courts. We used to reserve outside facilities for limited hours, which was not suitable for the number of players we have and the amount of training we wished for.
Africa's club of the century decided to end this poor legacy in squash. With the help of the Sports Ministry and the Armed Forces Engineering Corps, in just 5 months, this squash complex was renovated and 8 courts erected. The players are finally relieved.
We are very happy. This building has been out of service for 8 years.
The gym, tracks, and now courts are in one place instead of usually moving from one place to another.
The complex costed around $7 million. Besides being a training facility for the Red Devils, it will be used to host international and local squash tournaments. Al Ahly is not so far behind in squash. Only few clubs are stronger. The team's management and the players believe that by completing their squash facilities, nothing should stand in their way to become number one. But to do so, Al Ahly must become stronger than teams which already have the world's strongest players. Adel Mahroui, CCTV, Cairo.
Now, it goes without saying that most African footballers dream of going to Europe to play professional football. But one European footballer has opted for the opposite direction. 26-year-old midfielder Ilić Milos from Serbia plays professional football in Uganda, and he is certainly enjoying the atmosphere of playing in the Pearl of Africa. Leon Senyange reports.
Serbia is known for having some of the world's best football exports. It is also the home country of Ilić Milos. The 26-year-old opted to play football in Uganda, making him the first European to play in the local league.
This is something new for me in my career. I want to put in my CV, again, is challenge to play from Europe in Africa.
After 3 years, Milos has settled in well, although in the beginning it wasn't the language he struggled with, but the weather. He now says opponents look forward to facing him during matches.
I think I add more challenges because usually competition, when they see players from Europe. They want to challenge me, and I think the games they're more attractive, and fans I think enjoy.
The midfielder has already impressed. He guided his first team to promotion into the top division, and last year he won a League Cup. His teammates feel he is a great addition to the side.
He's a fantastic player, well disciplined, and he can play any position on the pitch.
Despite several league appearances, he is eager to win his first Premier League title.
Yes, I hope for now with URA, because it's one of the biggest clubs in Uganda. Our target always they are win and trophies. Now we are fighting in this Uganda Super League for like title, and again of course we're looking for cup.
Miloš says he's enjoying his football despite being miles away from home. He hopes he'll also be able to one day coach a club here after his playing days are over. Leon Senyange, CCTV, Lugazi, Central Uganda.
Well, let's take another quick break. Still to come here on Match Point. Yes, this is Mogadishu at night. We take a glimpse at how fast basketball is gaining influence in Somalia. Welcome back. Now, the recovery of basketball in Somalia is gaining momentum. The latest edition is a night tournament featuring 10 teams in Mogadishu. Quite unthinkable in recent years, but as fans attest, night basketball has apparently become not only the most popular, but also a highly competitive sport. Mohamed Hirmoge went to the night games and filed this report.
The game tips off at exactly 8 p.m. and it should be another fantastic matchup between the two teams. Night basketball in Mogadishu is fast gaining pace. For these basketball players, resilience is one of the key factors. For the fans, it's another entertaining game.
We have a tough match tonight. I hope we win. And if we do so, we may easily go all the way to the finals. The fans have been very supportive all through, and that is why we feel we have to reward them.
This game should be the perfect opportunity for the fans to get an idea of what it is like to play in a big game at night.
Look at this court. See all these people coming here to watch this match. This is a sign of progress. I urge the Basketball Federation to introduce ladies basketball tournament as well. That would be so much fun.
I support Host because they play well and they're organized. The peace in Mogadishu is improving every other day, and I hope it will get better and bring more happiness, peace, prosperity and victory in the future.
Basketball here is more competitive than any other sport and is also the only sport played at night. To officials, that's a sign of how far the sport has come in Somalia, and this in a very short time.
After seeing the improved security in the city and the urge by the players to have night games, we organized this tournament. This tournament is about to end, and tonight Hagan is playing against Horsed, which are two teams from the police and military. This tournament will conclude at the end of this month.
The teams here are battling for a ticket to represent the country in the regional tournament to be held later this year. Tonight's game is tough. Police side Hagan is up against military side Horsed, and the fans have come in large numbers. Now it may take some time before these Somali basketball teams can compete at regional and international levels and bring home trophies. But as evident in this court, these Somali basketball teams can rely on plenty of support from their fans. Mohamed Hirmoge, CCTV, Mogadishu.
Finally, a fund opened in Britain for Sierra Leone's star sprinter Jimmy Toronka has topped the $35,000 mark. Jimmy was arrested after being found living rough on the streets of London after he failed to return home in the wake of the Commonwealth Games last year. He's now claiming asylum in Britain, saying he's frightened to return to Sierra Leone while the Ebola crisis remains unresolved. Our UK correspondent Richard Bestick reports from the UK capital.
Jimmy Toronka was living the dream. Only last year, part of Sierra Leone's Commonwealth Games team, a national hero, and promising to do his best for the nation.
I do well for the country.
But when he failed to return at the end of the Games in Glasgow, the elite athlete ended up sleeping rough on the mean streets of London.
Homeless, no place to sleep, nowhere to go, no food. Went to people, go to people to help me, like ask people for £1 for me to get food, because it was really bad for me. Someday I can think like I kill myself.
Jimmy overstayed his visa in Britain, he says, when adopted family in Sierra Leone fell victim to the Ebola epidemic. It was the second time in the 20-year-old's life that tragedy had struck. During Sierra Leone's 11-year civil war, Jimmy says his entire family was killed by militias. A fund in Britain for the runaway has topped $35,000, and Jimmy's once again dreaming of the big time.
When I hear that the people are coming out to help me, sponsor me, for me to continue my athletics career here, to do my sprinting here, I really feel excited that this really, my dream is now at the corner for me to come true, that I should start my training here. I feel great that if I start my training here, and even they said that tomorrow you're going to start your training, I will be one of the happiest person in the world. That's really great for me.
Jimmy's future, though, will likely be decided here at the UK Home Office and not on the racetrack. Officials here at the Home Office have a number of searching questions for Jimmy Toronka. So despite the support of some members of the British public, it's far from a foregone conclusion that he'll be remaining in Britain for his training programme. Richard Bestick, CCTV, London.
Well, that's it for this edition of Matchpoint. Remember, you can send your feedback to matchpoint@cctv.com. You can also visit our Facebook page, CCTV Africa, or stay in touch on Twitter. The handle is, as always, CCTV News Africa. Thanks for watching. We'll leave you now with some images from the sporting highlights this past week.